Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we shall be deep diving the Cadian command squad. This video is part of my competitive re-review series. When I initially reviewed the Cadian command squad, it was very much through the lens of hype and excitement with the initial drop of the Imperial Guard Codex. Since the Codex has dropped, we've got a lot more experience, me personally and us as a community, and we now know a bit more about how competitive these units are. And the Cadian Command Squad is a very good unit. Arguably, it is the best command squad that the Guard has access to right now. And so, without further ado, let's fix bayonets and charge right into this thing.
Attention, Guardsmen! The Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately, or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
As is tradition, we will start off with a review of the stat line. The first stat line we have in the command squad is the Cadian commander. He's got a movement of 6, toughness 3, a 5-up save, 3 wounds, leadership 7, and objective control of 1. He is joined by 4 Cadian veteran guardsmen. Each one of these veteran guardsmen has exactly the same stat line as him, except they only have 1 wound apiece. That means in total, you have got 7 wounds in the Cadian command squad. That is a very respectable wound pool for a squad of this size. The other important stat you want to look at here is movement. Because these guys are infantry, it means they can go through ruins and other walls. This is very important because all tournament terrain these days is L-shaped ruins, and vehicles have to go round ruins and other obstacles, and that could make them a bit slower, whereas infantry can go as the crow flies. You can also give this squad, as if it's leading a unit, move, and therefore they can go 9 inches, plus they can advance, so guard infantry can be surprisingly quick. The other numbers in the stat line are less important. Toughness 3 with a 5-up save means that these guys are going to die to a stiff breeze like any other guard unit, and leadership 7 and objective control of 1 is normal for guard commanders like this. However, the reality of the situation is that you are almost never going to be running this Cadian command squad on its own. Like all guard officers, it is a force multiplier, and we want to be looking at this through the lens of its abilities. But unlike standalone guard officers like the Cadian Castellan and Ursula Creed, we actually care about the weapons and war gear of this unit as well, because it can add some significant punch to a guard platoon. So let's look at the weapons and war gear, then we'll get to the abilities. The unit composition and war gear options for a Cadian command squad are extensive. If you're new to the guard and this is a bit overwhelming, don't worry, I'm going to give you 2 standard loadouts that you'll want for this unit. In every case, you want to have the Cadian commander equipped with a plasma pistol and a power fist. Why? Because just like when we reviewed the Cadian Castellan, these are simply the best options for him. The plasma pistol has a good strength, AP, and damage, and the power fist is unlikely to be used because guarded melee is not great, but it's still better than having a chainsword or a power sword. As for the rest of the squad, you're going to have 1 chap with a plasma gun, 1 with a flag, 1 with a master vox, and 1 with a medibag. This is what I would call the traditional command squad loadout. An officer with some fancy war gear, master vox so you can boost your order range up to 24 inches, medibag to bring dead guys back into the squad, and then you have got the flag because it looks cool, as well as adding extra objective control to the squad. However, strictly speaking, this is not the best, most competitive loadout for this unit. The better way of running it is to have 2 guys with plasma guns, 1 voxcaster, and 1 medibag. The reason for this, at the end of the day, the guard does not struggle for objective control, so you don't really need the flag. Yes, the flag looks incredibly cool. Yes, the flag wins the rule of cool, but from a purely competitive mindset, that extra plasma gun is worth much, much more and is going to be relevant a lot more of the time. But it's not just about the damage output of this squad. Like we said, it is a force multiplier, and much of that force multiplication comes from the war gear abilities. The first one is the Medipack. At the start of your command phase, if the bearer's unit is below its starting strength, you can return up to D3 destroyed platoon models, excluding characters, to this unit. So if the Cadian commander or any other officers get sniped out of the unit, you can't use the Medipack to bring them back. Essentially, this is going to allow you to bring back an average of 2 guardsmen a turn. This is a very nice ability, and because you do it at the start of your command phase, it's before battle shock, so this can be used to get you above half strength, so then you don't have to take a battle shock test. It also means that you can absolutely, via chicanery and shenanigans, use this to get a couple of extra inches forward, which may be relevant for moving on to objectives, or maybe you're already on an objective and your opponent's trying to contest it from you. You can use this to get a bit more objective control on that objective, maybe flipping it to you, giving you a big bonus in primary points. When used in this latter role of flipping objectives, the Medipack can be a genuinely game-winning piece of equipment, but it's important to understand its limitations. It does not make you invulnerable. You have to have models alive for it to be able to bring them back. And 40k is a very lethal addition, and if you're not careful, a full 20-man blob and the command squad will be swept aside before you get a chance to use the Medipack. So it's good, but it doesn't make you invulnerable. The other extremely vital piece of equipment is the Master Vox. This means that each time the officer in the bearer's unit issues an order, it can issue it to an eligible unit up to 24 inches away. This not only applies to the Cadian commander, but any other officers which have also joined the squad. This kind of brings us on to the leader aspect as well, so we might as well cover that here. If you take a unit of Cadian shock troops, it can have 2 leader units join it. That could be this command squad, and then for example, it could be Ursula Creed or a Cadian Castellan. Because the Cadian Castellan / Ursula Creed also have the officer keyword, they are eligible to benefit from the Master Vox. This means that Creed goes from doing her orders 6 inches away to 24 inches away. It is probably the biggest force multiplier in this entire unit. It is the #1 reason why you take a command squad in so many cases. Speaking of leading units, there are 2 ways in which the Cadian command squad typically works with the Cadian shock troops. You've got the command blob style. This is where you take a single squad of 10 Cadians, you attach a command squad to it, you attach a relevant officer to it, whether that's Creed or whether that's Lord Solar Leontus, and essentially you're using the shock troops as the glue to get the officers access to that Master Vox and get those orders going out where you need them. This command blob is extremely common and something that you'll find in the vast majority of guard armies, but the command squad is also perfectly at home leading a brick of 20 guardsmen. And again, you might find yourself having a Cadian Castellan coming along for the ride. If you have a Cadian brick of 20 guys, they're going to have 2 plasma guns and 2 melter guns. If you bring the command squad along, they're going to add another 2 plasma guns and a plasma pistol into the mix. Then you have the Cadian Castellan, who's going to add another plasma pistol onto this. Give that whole squad first rank fire, second rank fire, and you are looking at 14 plasma shots and 2 melter gun shots. 3 from each plasma gun, and you've got 4, so that's 12. And then you get 1 for each of the plasma pistols, and then of course you've got the 2 melter guns on top of that as well. That is a lot of shots combining with the Cadian Castellan's sustained hits, and you can really spike your damage. Personally, I am a big fan of this Cadian Giga Blob approach. Not only are you getting a unit which is getting a lot of damage output potentially, it's also doing a lot of objective control, it can also do good screening. It's also getting internal force multiplication and acting as a force modifier externally as well. Internally, the Cadian Castellan is doing well, giving those sustained hits, and then also you've got all the extra special weapons from the plasma pistols and extra plasma guns from the command squad and the Cadian Castellan. Externally, as into the rest of your army, that Cadian Castellan is now getting access to the Master Vox, so he's able to order 2 more units. An infantry company of 3 blobs, one of which being a Cadian Giga Blob, is very nice. What those other 2 blobs are can be up to you. Maybe you go for Cadians to save a few points, or maybe you go for Kriegers because you want to have access to the Grim Demeanor ability. Either way, that force right there, that big company, is a great asset to have in most guard armies. Quick side note here, the Cadian commander can only do 1 order naturally. If he is leading a big Cadian blob and there are no other officers involved, then typically that order is going to go on the squad that he is leading. This does make the Master Vox a less useful piece of equipment, but you have to take it. You cannot trade it out, so it is what it is. This is why you tend to find people taking the Cadian Command Squad with other officers, because they want to try and make sure they're getting every bit of juice they can out of the unit. If you are in a combined arms detachment, you always have Grand Strategist that could go on the Cadian Commander, meaning that 1 command squad can support 2 units. But you tend to find that that Grand Strategist is finding itself at home on a tank commander instead. Because of this, you'll notice that with a lot of guard infantry blobs, it's either blob, command squad, and extra officer, or it's just blob. Rarely do you have blob and command squad on its own. The last thing to mention with the Cadian command squad is the Cadia Stands ability. While this unit contains an officer, each time a ranged attack targets this unit, if this unit is within range of an objective mark you control, models in this unit have the benefit of cover against that attack. This ability is either fantastic or irrelevant. It's fantastic if you're playing in a recon guard detachment, because it means that your unit will get the benefit of cover, and then because of recon guard, you'll also get another +1 on top of that, meaning you can end up with guard with a 3+ armor save, which is very tasty against shooting armies. Unfortunately, the benefit of cover does not help you in any way, shape and form in melee combat. And so Cadia Stands is a good ability if you're playing on like GW terrain, where the terrain is a bit lighter, so the objectives can very much be out in the open and you're playing in a recon guard detachment. Outside of those factors, if you're playing on a more terrain dense board like WTC or UKTC, you're probably going to have cover anyway. And if you're playing outside of a recon guard detachment, or you're playing into a melee army, this ability is going to be less useful. Cadia Stands is a nice to have, but it is not the #1 reason you are taking this unit. That just about covers everything on the datasheet, and we've also talked about some of the tactics as we've been going through the video with things like the command blob and the giga blob. The big question is now, is the Cadian command squad a good unit? Is it an auto include, or is it a bad unit? Well, I'm going to give it 1.5, it's not quite all the way up there, thumbs up. Because it's a very, very good unit that will find its home in so many guard armies. But it's just off the cusp of being an auto-include. And this comes down to the fact that not every guard army is going to be using a lot of guard infantry blobs. For example, you have got mech assault style armies and traditional mechanized armies, and you've also got Hammer of the Emperor detachments, which often will easily make do without a Cadian command squad. If you're going traditional mech, that sort of 5 or 6 infantry squads inside chimeras with 4 or 5 tanks backing them up, there's no real need for a Cadian command squad. Your tank commanders will order your tanks, and your chimeras will drive around just adding a bit of fire support and getting your infantry where they need to be. If you're running Hammer of the Emperor, you may be taking Lord Solar Leontus in a big command squad, or maybe you'll just have him galloping around and just ordering the units that he needs to order. A lot of competitive Hammer of the Emperor players don't take the full blob with Leontus. They just have him basically galloping around behind the tanks. You also have Mech Assault, which has things like Ogryns and Chimeras and Kazakin and Tauruxes, which just order themselves when they get out, which also doesn't really need the Cadian command squad. So it's a phenomenally good unit, definitely one that should be on your radar and one that you should consider adding to your collection. But like with many units, it's not just an auto include, you want to have a game plan with it. And the Cadian Command Squad is one that if you're running command blobs and giga blobs, it's got a home. If you're not running them, you probably don't need it. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the Cadian Command Squad? And what do you think about how it stacks up against other command squads like the Krieg and the Kachans? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.